go ahead and get started with this morning's meeting. So welcome everyone to the weekly meeting, last weekly meeting of 2021 of the Tacoma Pierce County Coalition to End Homelessness. We're going to start with a welcome message from Rosemary. So I turn the floor over to you, Rosemary.
Well, this morning I was thinking about the solstice, and we don't often talk about it in our groups, but I was reminded of a song. Those of you who participated in anti-nuclear action in the 70s and 80s, and maybe remember that Rise Up Singing songbook that we would sing, we'd sit around and sing all the songs out of it. Anyway, there was one that came to my mind this morning. It was Light is Returning. It's by Charlie Murphy, and it was taken over by feminist groups and lots of other groups, but it's a very short little poem to read in the song, and I think it will help us get focused today. Here's his words. Light is returning, even though this is the darkest hour. No one can hold back the dawn. Let's keep it burning. Let's keep the flame of hope alive. Make safe our journey through the storm. One planet is burning, circle on her path around the sun. Earth Mother is calling her children home. So that last line struck me in terms of our work, calling her children home. What is that and where is that? And we gather here every week on the ancestral lands stewarded by the Puyallup Tribe of Indians. And we work together to make home a secure and permanent reality for our unsheltered neighbors. And as we are reminded in these darkest hours and days of the year, we're reminded to go deeply inward ourselves, to care for our bodies, our minds, our spirits, our birth families and our chosen families as inclusive as we can be, and to prepare for the longer days ahead. Solstice this year is on December 21st, next week, so really quite close. And you know how dark it is when you get up in the morning and how soon it gets dark again. So that's not very happy making, but dawn, no one can hold back the dawn is kind of a powerful, hopeful thing. And on December 21st, just to remind us of one other thing, is that's the day of the Homeless Memorial Service. And during the past year, 15,600 people died while on the streets in the United States. At least that's the record from the HUD group that keeps track of that. So we have a lot of work to do. I welcome you all here. And I just want to begin with our norms for how our group works. For those of you who are new, we will be introducing our guests from the newly elected folks at a little bit later. And just for those of you who haven't come here before, we'll have a couple of minutes for you to say that you're with us today, so we'll know who you are. Our norms, and I have it ready to post. If you don't, Rob, I can do that, or if you can, that's great.
I just posted it in the chat.
All right, thank you. So we have some norms for this Zoom process, and that is mostly to keep ourselves muted when we're not talking and to stop our video if we're doing some other activities. And also to use the raised hand function when we're wanting to make a point or ask a question. Or if you're in a place where you can't use those tools from the Zoom meeting, to raise your hand wildly somehow, or just speak out and ask to be recognized. And we'll try to make sure we do that. We also use the chat as a way to share our information about ourselves, or to make comments or points or carry on ideas during the session. It's not disrespectful to do that. Just we want to keep our networking going. And then we have some norms about respect for one another that are posted there, that we want to make sure we all listen to each other and take responsibility for the things we say and how they may come across. So with that, if anyone is new today or coming back after a long time away, unless you're one of the elected folks, because we'll introduce you shortly, just unmute yourself and let us know that you're here.
Well, you all know, I think, that Richard is in Peru somewhere. So this is Liz, his wife, taking notes.
Very much welcome, Liz. I saw your name there and I said, I bet she's there to take notes. So welcome, and say hi to Richard when you talk to him.
I will do that. Thank you.
Casey, I see you have your hand up.
Yeah, I'm Casey Walsh from Comprehensive Life Resources, and I'm basically here to learn what everything's about and take notes for my team.
Welcome, Casey.
Thank you.
All right, well, I'll let you continue on, and if anyone has anything to say, put it in the chat and we'll get in touch.
Thank you, Rosemary, and thank you for getting us centered on our work this morning. So the first item that we're going to do before we get into the discussion with newly elected officials is we ask every week for updates of what people are seeing on the streets. What do we want to do in this section of the meeting is hear about needs, changing needs, observations from those who are interacting directly with people on the streets across Pierce County. And so I open the floor. Again, please raise your hand or wave or somehow get my attention and unmute yourself, and you can share what you're seeing this week. Gerald, I see your hand up.
Good morning. For those that know me, Gerald from the WLIHA Center. I was actually doing the our steering committee meeting the other day. You wanted us to kind of give a quick update on the phones. Dana asked that, so I figured this might be a good time for Skylar, who does our data, to give you kind of an update on how the phones work. And just to brief those who wasn't there, the question was about from Dana Peterson, was how do we get phones into an agency? So we were able to do it. We didn't know other agents not able to get like what they call the Obama phone. So I just want him to talk it through real quick, so for quick understanding. Skylar.
Thank you, Gerald.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Skylar. And with the inquiry about the Obama phones or the low-income phones, is that we generally go through Q-Link Wireless and Assurance Wireless, have the clients fill out the application, and once they provide proof of government support of any type or
Skylar, your audio is cutting out for some
showing
reason.
that they don't have the available funds to purchase themselves a phone. Okay, is that better?
Yeah, that's better.
Okay, so the clients ended up using most our address for sending the devices to us so we can get them the devices. But with that, I also spoke with the post office months ago. And they were saying that the general option was available to track down anything that came through the general option. So we just decided to use our address to support the clients in getting the devices, and that's just been working for us. The downfall lately is that they're so backed up with so many requests that it's been taking between 3 to 6 weeks just for a device to come in.
Okay, so I see a question in the chat asking which companies do you use to apply for the phones?
Primary company is Assurance Wireless with an A.
Great. And thank you for this update. If you can watch the chat, there is additional information being offered there by Jenny and others. Appreciate the update. And in the interest of time this morning, I think we're going to shift to the next update. Monique, you have your hand up as well.
Yes, good morning. Thank you. So just an update on the encampment, the Veterans Village. It is flat now. They're out there doing the work to flatten the space. We were out there yesterday doing some measuring for the platforms. Last night was the community meeting. It was rough. There was a lot of concerns, but we're moving in the right direction. Today I will start ordering everything. I ordered an ice fishing tent and stood up in it, and it is extremely roomy. We can put a cot in there, a chair in there, and a 3-drawer, some sort of 3-drawer for them to put some items in. So I think that part is going to be great. We're just hustling, trying to get it done. And as always, I'm terrified, but thank you.
Thank you for your commitment and all that you're doing, Monique. James, I see you have your hand up as well.
Yeah, I just want to give updates on kind of our mobile clinic, I guess I'll say. For those that don't know me, I'm James Pogue, the Executive Director of Homeless Services at Comprehensive Life Resources. My department includes a youth and young adult service center called the Hype Center, and then my homeless outreach team. And I've been giving updates each week about our coordinated outreach efforts, and we've kind of started adopting encampments, and I'm going to give some quick updates on the 3 that we're working at. And I'll show the link, I'll put it in the chat about where you can learn where we're going and schedule and things like that. So we are daily going to 9th and Tacoma. This week, we were able to connect with 8 individuals. One of them was an amputee who also had some medical concerns, as well as was a veteran. So we were able to enroll him in one of our programs, get him to a hotel, connect him with his medical provider. He has a follow-up doctor's appointment January 4th, and we're very excited that we were able to move so far along with him. Two other occupants have done intakes for substance use assessments, and they're looking to go to inpatient treatment. They finished the intake process. 3 folks completed coordinated entry assessments for the first time. And then Vallejo Vocation joined us this week, and they enrolled 1 person in their employment services. So we pretty aggressive uptick in activity from the first week to the 3rd week, which is this week, from connecting with folks to actually having some assessments done. And I said 1 person moved into a hotel as part of one of my HARPS programs. 2nd and G, we're also at, and we had 2 people sign up for inpatient mental health and substance use treatment, as well as outpatient services. So we had 3 people do assessments. And then we were at 25th and Portland, working with what we were calling the pilot site, as it's looking to be, I guess, relocated. Today is the final day. And it's just been a transient site. I mean, a lot of sites, of course, are transient, but when folks are being told they have to leave by Friday, we got a bunch of people who leave, and then we get some folks coming in. And a lot of this area includes cars. So we've noticed day to day that there's a lot of cars that are coming and going. So it's been a little bit of a wonky site, but we did have 2 people complete assessments, and Vallejo came out with us, and 2 people enrolled for employment services through Vallejo. We're also working with the City of Tacoma's HOT team, their staff named Laurel. I'm not sure of her last name, forgive me, but if you know her, she's one of the City of Tacoma's employees that are working on the homeless outreach police team, but she's not the police officer. She's an employee of the City of Tacoma. She's worked with us to get, I think, 15 people since Wednesday all the way through today to the new, I think it's called Aspen Court, the WLIHA property on 84th and Hosmer. They have some beds that Tacoma is managing, and then Lakewood has a few beds. And then I know that WLIHA is working on their own process to get people in that's independent of the city. I don't know their numbers, I don't want to give it, but I know that the City of Tacoma has worked with Comprehensive to get 15 people. We prioritized that site first. 25th and Portland was the folks, and I don't have numbers of who came from where, but 15 people have made it. At the end of today will be from these encampments to the WLIHA site. I'll put the information, and just a real quick update. Our agency, the next 2 weeks is going to be a little bit on a skeleton crew, and having the next 2 Fridays off for scheduled clinic closures for holidays and things. We are still trying to be very consistent, and so we'll have some updates, and we'll have some cancellations and some things happening for both our walk-in clinic and our mobile clinic. And again, we're going to update the website that I'm going to post in the chat. If you are interested to join us or want to direct clients to these times and dates, we will do our best on the same day to update if we're canceling or not going to make it. But we think we have the staffing to make everything on the schedule happen for the next 2 weeks, which is basically Monday, Wednesday at the sites, and Tuesday, Thursday at our outpatient clinic.
Thank you, James. That's a lot of great work, and good news to hear so many folks are getting connected to services with you and WLIHA. That's fantastic. So any last items for updates for what's happening on the streets this week before we move into our newly elected officials portion of the meeting? All right, if there is not, let's go ahead and go ahead.
An update on Aspen Court. So thanks, James, for mentioning that. Yeah, we're very excited to have opened Aspen Court. We had our ribbon cutting. What was it on a couple days ago? We had a ribbon cutting to open the site, and 90 rooms providing shelter for about 120 people experiencing homelessness in Pierce County. So just a huge thanks to the city of Tacoma, to Pierce County, and to the city of Lakewood for our collaboration and partnership on that. So the idea is, it provides enhanced shelter, and it also, in about 2 years, the initial 2 years, we're going to be converted into permanent supportive housing. That's the plan. So, and just, we had a great ribbon cutting event. So if anyone hasn't seen the pictures, I can send those. But Tacoma Mayor Victoria Woodards came out, joined us for that. County Council Member Ryan Mello, Pierce County Council Member Janie Hutchin, the Pierce County Executive Bruce Dammerer, I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Tacoma City Council Member Christina Walker. They all joined us for that. So it was a great day opening the site. And right now, Joe Perva, who's the manager of the site, has been very busy with intakes, is just swamped with that. So I was not expecting that he would be able to join me for this, because he's very busy with that. And we want the on the ground staff there focused on helping out the folks that we're going to serve through that shelter. So they're doing just amazing work out there. Our staff just did a terrific job getting the site set up, and thank you to everyone for your partnership on that.
Thank you, Josh, and congratulations on opening. So let's shift gears. I want to turn the floor over to Cynthia and Rosemary to introduce our newly elected officials forum while I work on creating breakout rooms for us.
Okay, I'll go ahead and get started. My name is Cynthia Stewart, and I represent the League of Women Voters. And I'm thrilled to be able to do this today. I'm so glad that so many elected officials are willing to come and learn. I will introduce them in just a minute, but I want to say for Rob, we have 8 elected officials, so we only have 8 breakout rooms to organize. So the purpose of this session today is to hear what newly elected officials are wondering about as it pertains to homelessness and affordable housing issues. And then we would like to tell newly elected officials about the perspectives that we have as a group of providers and people with lived experience and community advocates. So I would like to welcome the following elected officials who are here. Sarah Rumbaugh, Tacoma City Council, who is not new to this group, but she's new in this capacity. Joe Bushnell, Tacoma City Council. Beth Elliott, DuPont City Council. Christy Keith, Edgewood City Council. Erica Buckley, Edgewood City Council. Jennifer Jensen, Ruston City Council. Pat Cole from Sumner City Council, and Brenda Likens, Gig Harbor City Council. Now, while I'm talking, I'm not going to be able to figure out whether or not the others who had said they would be here are here. Dave Strader from Milton, Peter Paul from Eatonville, and Michael McCullough from Bonnie Lake. So if they arrive after we've set up the breakout rooms, they will just have to be assigned to those. So what we'd like to do in the breakout rooms is have elected officials introduce themselves and identify what 1 or 2 burning issues or questions they have about homelessness for this group to potentially answer. So it can be 1, it could be 2, not a whole list, please, but enough what's really important to you. I'm seeing Mike Winkler from DuPont City Council. I didn't have you on the confirmation list, but I guess that makes 9 groups. So excuse me for interrupting myself here. We're trying to do 2 things at once. One of them is introduce the topic and get ready, and the other one is form the group so that we have the right balance of people in them. So excuse me for that. So after each elected official in each breakout room says what's a burning question or 2 that they have about homelessness, coalition participants will each introduce themselves one at a time, say whom they represent, and say what would help them or their organization respond to the needs of the people they assist. In other words, what could government do that would help address the current homelessness situation in Pierce County? And how would they answer the elected officials' question? So 2 parts. One of them is what would help the people they serve? And the other one is how would you answer the question? We want to make sure that people distribute the time. So we're going to have 20 minutes, make sure that no single person dominates. And there will be a facilitator in each group to help make sure that we get through the process smoothly. So also I want to note that the same rules of Zoom courtesy that we have in the big group also apply in the small breakout rooms. So I think with that, we can go ahead if we're ready. Rob.
I just had one thing to add. I wasn't sure if Rob was able to make it possible for us to add our affiliations when we get into the breakout groups. One of the things that could help you were, so that will be something that we can do to give the folks who are newly elected a reminder of where we are and the variety of the groups we work with. Thank you.
Thank you, Rosemary. So what I'm going to do, there will be a little bit of shuffling involved, but I have, believe I have the base rooms set up with the facilitator and elected official for each room. What I'm going to do then is go in and I need to manually add everyone to each of the rooms after I open them. So you should, if you haven't done breakouts before, receive a invitation to join a room. And that won't happen immediately like it usually does. It'll happen as I add people to the room. So apologies for the little bit of shuffle, but let's go ahead and get started.
And I just want to add, because of the shuffle, we've added a couple extra minutes. So the 20 minutes, it'll be plus shuffle time.
Cynthia, were you going to join a room as well?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. Now I have tech problems. right. I think everybody has been assigned to rooms. So it's up to individuals if they accepted it or not.
I hope they do.
Yeah, and for those of you who end up in this room, I understand sometimes people are multitasking. The only caveat will be that I can't guarantee that I'll be very entertaining in here for the next 20 minutes. So, so if you'd like to join in the conversation with elected officials, opportunity is still open.
Rob, I don't think it actually gave me a breakout room or
Oh,
assigned me
okay.
one.
Let me see where I see you on my list.
I'm new to Housing Connector, about like
Oh,
third
okay.
or fourth week, so should be connected to Shelby Leones if you have her down.
Okay. Why am I not seeing your name? Yeah, give me a moment. I'll figure this
No
out.
problem.
Did you get an invite now? Did it show up on your screen?
No.
What kind of device are you using Zoom on?
Yeah, just a laptop, a ThinkPad.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't know why it is not. So I'm going to send it to you again. Let's see if it'll
Okay.
pop anything up. Still nothing?
Mm-mm.
That's odd.
I know.
So do you see on your screen any indication like at the bottom or the top of the screen where it says breakout rooms or join?
No.
Huh. Are you on a Chromebook you said you're on a ThinkPad, right?
ThinkPad, yeah.
Yeah. Huh.
Maybe I'll try rejoining really quick. I don't know. And then let's
yeah,
try
if you
that.
want to do that.
Yeah.
If you do that, then I'll
We'll
try
try
to
that.
reassign you again.
Sounds
Yeah,
good.
thanks.
Well, it looks like we hit it pretty close on the schedule. So closing at 9:48 will give almost everybody the full 20 minutes.
Yeah.
So that's good. So Rob, I'm gonna put myself on total mute and go get some more coffee.
Okay. Sounds like a plan.
I'll be back.
All right. So now I do have a blue box that says the host has open breakout rooms. Please wait to be assigned.
Okay, now I'll see if
We're
I
getting
can assign
closer.
you. Yeah, you
Okay.
are. Now let me see which room you're in again.
There we go. Thank you very much.
All right.
Bye.
This is Jan with LAHSA. And
Yeah, hi, Jan.
I hung up and called back in again.
Oh, okay.
So if you could assign me, I'll just listen in somewhere.
Okay, I can do that. You
Thank
should
you.
get a notification here in a minute.
Okay.
Hi, Maureen. We are, oh, she left. Hi, Carol. We have about 9 minutes left in our breakout rooms. Should I move you to a room to join the conversation? Same question for you, Maureen. We have about 8 minutes left in our breakout room conversations with newly elected officials. Should I add you to a room?
Sure. Yeah, that works.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I see that a couple of new folks have joined us. We have about 5 minutes remaining in breakout conversations with newly elected officials. I'd be happy to add you to a room if you would like. I will send you a notification that you can join a room, and you can choose to accept it or ignore it. But we will be back here in one big group in about 5 minutes.
Rob, will you give the breakout rooms a 2-minute notice?
Yeah, I can do that. Did we say we wanted them to come back here at 9:48?
Yeah,
Okay, so I'll do that at 9:46.
awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. Is my audio okay? I'm seeing
Yeah.
a delay.
No, it sounds good to me.
Okay, good.
It's syncing with your lip movements.
Thank you, Valerie.
been an intense week.
So did I see, Cynthia, were you in that Low-Income Housing Alliance meeting yesterday about messaging? Yeah, that's right. You commented as well. That was very interesting. It has been an intense week. I have not had a chance to dig through the governor's budget proposal yet. So that's.
No, I'm using the weekend and all next week to kind of catch up on all my issues. Yeah, and tomorrow I'm moderating a league, an all-member league meeting, so.
Oh, wow.
Can't do anything till Sunday. But
well, just so you know, I'm working on that year-end letter later today, so hopefully I'll have a draft. Yeah.
Right. Thank you.
Yeah. There's just too many things happening.
Yes, there are. So one of the things I'm working on is trying to get people engaged in the transit funding issue. And I think this coalition ought to leap at that, because Pierce County has virtually no transit and no.
Yeah, it's woeful. Yeah.
The presentation by Pierce Transit to the Affordable Housing Coalition Consortium was that they have zero what they call frequent service in Pierce County anywhere. And that means every 15 minutes or less. And that's something that Seattle residents are totally accustomed to. We have none. And most of the county isn't served by any transit. So for low-income people and for homeless people, oh my God.
Yeah.
Transit.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate. And a lot of it comes, I mean, some of it's a state funding issue, but some of it also goes back to that vote, the Pierce Transit vote that happened years ago, where, you know, service was removed from areas outside the urban areas.
It was a dumb decision, but that's what they did. So, you know.
Yeah.
Short term, it might have made sense. Long term, not.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
yeah, I had a conflicting meeting and missed sitting in on that on a statewide meeting about transportation yesterday at noon. I had another meeting. So.
Oh yeah, that was interesting too. Derek Young was one of the speakers, and I might distracting you from the 1 minute notice.
Yeah, I did that now.
Okay. He was one of the speakers, and he was pretty eloquent about the needs.
Uh-oh, Sarah, did you get ejected from your room?
Yes, I accidentally hit the button. I didn't mean to.
That happens.
Well, now I can't go back. And they were just in the middle of talking something really great.
Oh, no.
Yes. Oh, my God.
Sarah, since you've been here before, I might call on you last for feedback. Would that be okay?
Yeah, I wanted to finish with Jeff. He was saying something really great about serving the mental health. And I thought it was really ingenious what he was saying. So
maybe you can chat with him and catch up that way.
Yeah, I think I will. I'll just send him a message. Thank you.
All right, so welcome back, everyone. Hopefully that was a very good conversation. I will hand the floor back to Cynthia.
Let's wait till everybody's back. I think, almost everybody is back. Okay.
Yeah.
What we would like to do now, first of all, I want to thank everybody, both the elected officials and the rest of the group, for participating in this process. Hopefully everybody learned something, and not just the elected officials, but also hopefully our participants learned something as well. And what we'd like to do now is have each of our newly elected officials who's here give us some feedback. What kind of takeaway are you leaving with? What did you learn from the conversation, and what might you do with that information, if you can say that? So let's start with, Well, first of all, maybe let's see if we have any volunteers from elected officials. If you can use the hand raise function, because I can't see everybody. I'm not seeing any volunteers. So how about Beth Elliott? Oh, Brenda, please go forth. And Brenda is from Gig Harbor. So thank you.
Hi, thanks. First of all, I want to thank everybody for what you do for homelessness. That to me, you're the heroes in the room, and we're just learning from you, taking a vision and a message back to our cities, and I just really appreciate it. So we had a great discussion. I asked what policies can be most effective. You know, people in Gig Harbor like to say they don't have a homeless problem, and let's send to Tacoma or Bremerton, when in reality, looking at school data and looking at point in time, there is a homeless, and if there's not a bad one, there's going to be. And I see people doing policies that restrict short-term rentals, restrict bus service. I've even heard people who don't want the bridge toll to go away because heaven forbid more people want to come to our city. So what I learned is that there are resources out there. I learned about making a plan and reaching across all city businesses, from utility, parks, police, permitting, and come up with a plan and a structure, and not to be reactionary, not to say, oh my gosh, we have a problem now, what are we going to do? To look at the available services and to, look at people, know where your resources are in your community, and just know that these are people who are deserving of our compassion, and be aware of the resources and spread that information throughout our community.
Thank you. Do we have another volunteer? If not, I will call on Beth. Beth, you muted.
Okay, thank you. So I guess one of the big takeaways I've heard is that we need housing now. I guess there's a lot of money coming through the pipeline, but we need housing now. And I really like the concept that the cities came together in the county to buy the hotel off of Hosmer. I think if we could do that more, that would be great. And I like actually what Brenda said. In DuPont, we really don't have services. We're a very small city, not quite 10,000, but it doesn't mean that we don't have issues too. So I think we need to develop a plan and be ready to active now. But I think we also need to start thinking about how we can build affordable housing, because I think that's a huge need, was what I've heard too. So those are kind of my takeaways.
Thank you. So Beth was from DuPont. Let's go to Pat Cole from Sumner.
Thank you. My session I thought was really interesting. I was particularly interested in permanent supportive housing. And so I was given some information about where a new model is, which is the Communities First Village. So I will dig into that a little bit and see what I can find there and what I can learn. Homelessness is new to me overall. And so I really did learn quite a bit. Besides looking for the model, I learned that basic services are provided by St. Vincent de Paul, and I understand what those services are, especially with emergency services. And then there's a group that's out there, the Tacoma Tenants Organizing Committee, that advocate really on behalf of tenants to keep them from being displaced. So all of this was really interesting. I will definitely take it back to my city council and just really continue to educate myself on it. So I appreciate all the time and information that I received in this morning's session. So thanks.
Thank you. How about Jennifer Jensen from Ruston?
Well, good morning. I want to second what has already been said. Wow, what an amazing group of people. The amount of services and the breadth of things that are being provided is really impressive. So like many small cities, I mean, we're tiny. We have about 1,000 people, if we're lucky. We think it's not in our backyard. And so we talked about what homelessness is and how it exists everywhere, even though it might be below surface level and we're not obvious about it. So one of the most useful things to me, so, you know, just thank you for the discussion on the services you provide. James Pogue, thank you. I believe you're representing the mobile clinic, and he's already spoken with us today. But in addition, what I loved is mobile training. Like he gave me some training resources to, before homelessness becomes a problem, as we know it in our little city, what can we do to, as Brenda said, come up with a plan and train people for how to respond properly? And so there are some resources out there. Obviously, you all know that, but it was very helpful to me to get some starts on some resources. So I really appreciate your time today.
Thank you. How about, we have two people from Edgewood. Let's have Erica Buckley go first.
Thank you for the invitation to be at the meeting today. What I was wondering about was how you identify or how you get the word out to people who are experiencing housing instability but aren't, you know, visibly homeless, which is what I think we see in Edgewood. You don't, you know, walk around and see people living on the street, but you know that there are people living in cars or going from, you know, friend to friend, and not having their own housing. And I was informed about the coordinated entry system and about the other places that people go for assistance, such as the library or churches or food banks, and how you can identify people who need help in those ways. So I thought that was informative. And I guess moving forward, I would like to know more about affordable housing and what actually constitutes affordable. Because when I heard that term used, it's for housing that's still extremely expensive to most people. And so I would want to know what, you know, how do you get truly affordable or free housing?
Thank you. And I'm sure we will have a follow-up on that. Thank you for that. Christy Keith, also from Edgewood. Would you like to go next?
Thank you. I think a recurring theme is that Edgewood thinks it doesn't have these problems, and we all know that's not true. So my background is management consulting, and what I do is gather the data and make it transparent so that everybody can have the same data. So I think that, you know, normalizing discussions about what is actually going on in our community, and I really don't know how we can put a plan together to help anything unless we get past this idea that we don't have these problems, right? And so I think that focusing on, you know, normalizing discussions, gathering data, making sure that we know what the problems are so that we can plan in advance of growing problems is something that I will focus on. And I think that, you know, lots of money is moving around right now at the federal level, and I would love to see affordable housing. You know, I hear lots of talk about attainable housing. I'd like to see, you know, AMI in the 30 to 50, you know, 30 below, 50 below, really addressed, because I think that that's where the big need is, and that's been exacerbated by COVID. So I think that we've got some really good opportunities with all this money moving around at the federal level. So hopefully the places that need that worst will get that. And I think that I'm hopeful about the next 18 months and COVID recovery. So we'll see how it goes.
Thank you so much. Now we want to move to the larger jurisdiction, Tacoma. So let's start with Joe Bushnell.
Thank you, and good morning, everybody. Really fantastic little breakout room we had. Some of the things, one of the questions that I had was concerning folks that are refusing services. It was explained to me, and I'm just gonna, what I thought I heard, and so if anybody in the group thinks I said I'm missaying something, please correct me. I'm definitely open to correction. To help part of the issue is we need to make sure we're building trust with the folks that are out there. So a lot of them have been burned by the government or other services in the past. And so being consistently going out there, showing your face and getting to know them as an individual, that's what I'm hearing. We need to build that trust to bring them into services to help support them. Some of the other things that I've been told is that we actually have a plethora of services, and we look at this group right here, there's definitely a lot out there. And we need to make sure that we're prioritizing and allocating funds that are very effective. Like this has been mentioned previously, there's a lot of federal money coming in, but that federal money is also temporary. And so we need to make sure we have sustainable funding sources going forward to make sure that the services that we do have that are effective continue on. We need to re-examine some of our policy work and be creative in that policy work, because some of it is creating barriers to supporting folks. And we also need to, like as Mid mentioned before, is bring more affordable housing online. And when we say affordable housing, we mean real affordable housing, not the market rate that gets thrown around quite a bit. And then something that we need to make sure that we're supporting those on fixed incomes. We have many seniors that are maybe only on Social Security, and then making sure that they don't get thrown in onto the street in the first place. So those are the kind of the quick rundown. It was really short time, but I'm so grateful to be a part of this conversation, this group, and be a part of the solutions to support and help people. So thank you so much.
Thank you. And before we go to Sarah, also from Tacoma, I want to ask Michael Winkler from DuPont if he has any takeaways that he'd like to share.
Well, yes. Thanks again to everyone for everything that you do. It's just phenomenal, the services you provide. For me, I'm really in a learning curve, and I would really love to get a list of all the different organizations that are involved in your coalition and the services in a contact list. For me, that would be a great starting point, so that as additional questions come up, I have contacts I can reach out to. That would be very helpful.
Thank you. Maybe when we get done, Rob can tell all of you how to go about getting that information. I asked Sarah to go last because she's been here before, and even though she's newly elected, she's fairly familiar with this coalition. But Sarah, what's your takeaway from today?
Well, first off, I want to apologize to my group for hitting the button and getting out of our meeting before I meant to. And we were talking about, the last thing we were talking about was mental health dollars and the crisis with mental health issues with many of the people who are homeless. Some of my takeaways, I really appreciate what Joe Bushnell had to say, since we're both going to be serving as new members of the City Council for Tacoma. That, yeah, there is the idea that we do offer housing to people, but it doesn't always work for them right then. And we talked a lot about how we need different types, diversity in shelter is what Sherry Jensen said, low barrier, safe parking, RV parking, couples can come together, pets can be allowed. A lot of talk about sanctioned encampments, that's something that's been really successful when it's sanctioned by the city, has the services that has been successful. I think that the issue that we need to deal with is how do we sell that to the public so they understand. And I think Councilmember Hines, we had that success with the tiny homes on 6th and Orchard, and it shows that if we do something well and it works, people get around it, and there haven't been issues with it. And so I believe that providing a lot of different types of shelter will get us where we need to go. I haven't read the final comprehensive plan to end homelessness, and I will have to go read that now that I know it's out. But one of the things we were talking about were the numbers, and it's the idea that we have 1,000 shelter beds. We need 2,400 more for Pierce County and Tacoma, and that would be like $100 million more to actually have that. And so I understand we are in a dire state with this issue. It's something that's not going away. That's why I am the president of Associated Ministries Board, and we changed our mission knowing that this was a big issue and that we weren't going to be able to solve it and just give it away. And so I thank you so much for the work you're doing. Anyone who is like a new council member, This is a wonderful place to come and get information. The Ending Homelessness Coalition meetings on Fridays at 9 o'clock. If you have time and can come to them, you will hear all of the issues. You can just sit in the background and listen. But I think it's so important to get this information and to be a part. I went to this for about 8 months, so I know these issues. I'm not the person that's on the street solving the problem, but I hope that I can be effective as a council member and make changes that will show some difference in our city.
Thank you. So Ned Wooding is here. He's not a newly elected official, but he is a city council member in Puyallup. I'm wondering, Ned, if you have any additional thoughts for our newly elected officials to take away. I apologize for the pop quiz, but wondering if you would like to share anything.
Oh, homelessness is a ever struggle, and building a coalition that of community members to move something forward is really difficult. So you need to bring the community along when you're working on these kind of issues, and the thing I preach is that a solution to homelessness has to do two things. It's got to provide compassionate help to the people that want and need it, but it's also got to provide safety and security to our communities. So when we do something, we've got to do it right. If you do it right, then people are, the community will rally around you. If you do it wrong, then you're going to fight an uphill battle, and so that's the struggle that we face as elected officials. And the other side of the thing is as elected officials, we understand that we've got a budget we've got to live within, and it's really difficult to if we come up with models that are too expensive for the budget, then we're always going to have people that are underserved. So the more cost effective the solutions we come up with are, the more success we're going to enjoy. And I bring to the table a safe parking entity at South Hill Baptist Church in Puyallup, and they've got 12 parking places there, and they've had about in a year's period they've had over 100 people come through there, and 80% of them have exited into housing. So that just tells you, and the budget for them is negligible. It's less than 0.1% of the money that's being thrown around out there, and to move 80, I don't know the exact numbers, but moving 80 people out of homelessness in a year, if we can move people out, then we don't need as many beds. If our focus is on beds, then our problem persists. But if we focus on moving people into a bed so that they can exit the homeless period, then people that experience homelessness, we're going to have less of them, and we don't need as many dollars to serve them. So that's kind of what I've learned in my couple of years at this, and I don't have the depth of experience that most of the audience has, but that's kind of what I've learned and what I bring to the efforts that I put forth. Thank you.
Thank you. So this session was directed at cities because we just have municipal elections. The county council was not included in that. They come in a different cycle. But Councilmember Ryan Mello is here. And so Councilmember Mello, I'm wondering if you have, as a local elected official, any additional feedback for our newly elected city council members.
Only to, it's been said before, this is an awesome coalition, and thank you for having the fortitude to and the persistence to meet each and every week, and all the work that you do individually and at your organizations to do the real work on the ground and on the streets and pushing at the policy and funding level. So I, like Sarah, I think coming here as often as we can as policymakers to listen and learn and figure out what our what the best strategies are and where the resources should be directed is a great use of time. So I keep it as a standing meeting on my calendar and hop in as often as I can, and would just encourage my peers to do likewise. This is the most efficient place to come and gain support and gain knowledge. And I look forward to pushing the new 0.1% at the county level. Bravo to the city of Tacoma for advancing the 1/10 revenue in the city of Tacoma. It's going to be invested well. I look forward to working with all the other elected officials and everyone else here. Make the case and build the political will for that. Why resources to do.
We're losing your volume.
I'll end there. Let's get the 1/10 done so we have the revenue.
So before we close this off and turn it back to Rob, who will begin by telling the new council members how to get the list of who's included in this group. Do any of you newly elected officials have any additional things that you would like to suggest we offer you? What else would be helpful to you from this group at this point? And just if anybody has anything, just put your hand up with the hand raise function. I am not seeing anybody with their hand raised. So I just want to, Monique, you're not an elected official. So thank you though. Hold on. So this entire group wants to thank all 8 of you for being here. This was just really wonderful for you to take your time. We know that you're busy and really, really, really appreciate your attention to this issue. So I'm going to turn it back to Rob, who will give information about how to get the database about who we are. And then Rob may want to go to Monique for the next comment. Thank you all.
Cynthia. Thank you. I also want to publicly thank Cynthia and Rosemary for pulling together today's session with newly elected officials. Thank you so much for the hard work. I think it's a very rewarding experience and activity for everybody involved. So thank you. So I am going to put a link in the chat that goes to the pchomeless.org website that lists the agencies that participate, as well as individuals who have signed up on the website and said they participate in these meetings regularly. I do urge anyone here who's interested in seeing what resources are available in the community. A great place to do that is at the pchomeless.org website. There's an opportunity there to sign up for the listservs that are run by the coalition. There is an opportunity to click on a resources link that goes to a page that James Pogue mentioned earlier, that can show where the Comprehensive Life resources teams are going out and doing outreach every week, as well as try to help guide you if you're working with someone who needs help to the resources that they need. And then there's also a link on that page, pchomeless.org, that shows a relatively real-time list of shelter spaces that are available with contact information for those shelters. That's a system that Garrett Nyland, who helped, has been an important member of this coalition in the past and continues to be, but he's now working for Pierce County Human Services. He maintains that list and has set it up so that shelters can voluntarily go in and update their information every day. So again, I'll put that link for the participants in the chat, and I do encourage people to go to pchomeless.org. Monique, you have your hand raised.
Yeah, thank you, Rob. Cynthia, in my world, I am extremely important. I know that I'm not an elected official, but I thought you were asking for all questions. Okay, sorry about that. So listen, I just want to be sure while we have this audience here, we are talking housing, and that is great. But let me tell you that 75% of the veterans that I'm working with have had housing already, and they're back out on the street. So we are skipping a bunch of steps. We've got to get people prepared to retain their housing. We have got to give them training on how they use their money and how they pay bills and all these kinds of things, how to cook a meal, how to not burn down their house, all these things before they get into housing so that they can retain the housing. That's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Monique, for that perspective. So now that we are wrapping up this portion of the meeting, we will shift gears back to our regular content that we do during the second hour of the meeting. And that will lead off with updates from our government partners who regularly attend the meeting. I want to say I appreciate those who regularly update us from government partners for your patience. We usually do this at 10. We're a little bit late this morning. So I don't believe anyone from the city of Tacoma is on the call this morning. However, I do have updates from Allison Griffith that I will post into the chat. Let's shift over and see if Jeff Rogers from Pierce County Human Services has anything for us.
Yes, good morning. Just a few things to share real quickly. We recently released a funding opportunity for approximately $4.3 million to fund street outreach, hotel sheltering is specific to hotel sheltering only, and rapid rehousing. We received 11 applications. 3 are not responsive to the needs of the funding opportunities. We're considering 8 projects, and funding announcements will be made very, very soon before the end of the year. And these projects will be up and running between January 1 of 2022 through June 30th of 2023. These are state dollars from Department of Commerce focused on sheltering and rapid rehousing. So that's a new chunk of money that we're putting on the streets very, very soon. Just so everyone's aware, our annual homeless housing program funding opportunity, that's our biggest opportunity we put out annually. That NOFA will be released in January. Projects will start July 1 and go through June 30th of 2023. So keep your eye out for that. I'll do one quick plug for our homeless point in time count that's coming at the end of January. The point in time count will be conducted January 27th and 28th. Thank all of you who have volunteered. I see many people on the call today that I see your names as well in the registration pool that we have. We'll be getting back with you very, very soon about that process and the training that we'll be providing in mid-January for that PIT count. This count is very, very important. We did not do a point in time count in January of 2021 due to the pandemic. We must do one in 2022 because we got a waiver in 2021 and we haven't done one for almost 2 years. We know that the homeless population has changed since January of 2020. So we need to do a really good count. We need all of you that are very interested in participating to register. You can register at the Pierce County website. If you just Google Pierce County homeless point in time count, it will take you to the first option, which will be the link on our website where you can register. All folks who are volunteering must register. All folks who are volunteering must go through training. So if you have any questions, you're more than welcome to reach out to me. That's all I have for a quick update for today.
Thank you, Jeff. Let's shift over to Valerie. Are you still on the call, Valerie?
Of course.
There you are.
It's been very interesting. So quick update on rental assistance. We have already spent down just over 80 million. So of our Department of Treasury funds, we've spent 19.7 million of our 20.7. So we have under $1 million left, which is great. For our state allocation, we were awarded 43 million. We've already spent 41.9 million of those dollars. So we are currently, our 9 amazing nonprofits are currently working through our TRAP 2.0, which is our state allocation of funds. Jeff Rogers, you have a question in the chat box about the point in time count. TRAP 2.0, we received 36.1 million. So our providers are currently spending through those dollars now. And then American Rescue Plan funds, we received 23 million and we've already spent 4.6 million of that. So just keeping going as status quo. They are all working very, very hard. And we have requested 40 million more from Treasury. So we're just waiting to hear from that. Once we spend our TRAP 2.0, we will immediately get our access to ERAP 2.0, which are state funds. But there are no large changes coming to report at this time.
Thank you, Valerie.
You're welcome.
And I am multitasking here, so that's why I had some awkward silence. Let's shift over to Jenny from the Tacoma Pierce County Health Department with any updates.
Hi, everybody. Happy Friday. I will try to just keep this short, which I know isn't my style, but I'll do my best. Omicron is here. Please get vaccinated, get boosted. I will put information in the chat, but anyone over 16 is recommended to get a booster, and that those vaccines are our best defense against new strains of COVID that are in our community. So please stay safe. We are holding steady with our isolation and quarantine bed status, bed situation. For example, as of this morning, we have 15 available beds. So just a reminder that if you are a provider and you need assistance with getting someone who is a possible COVID case or is confirmed and they need a safe place to quarantine or isolate, you can call Aristo Services for placement, and I will put that number in the chat. What else? I shared last week, but we have a new testing site up, like a static site that does walk up and drive up, no appointment necessary. It's in Puyallup. I will also share the address of that site in the chat. They did 300 tests in the first week, so that's really great. And if you're not familiar with our testing page, I will share that as well. It's where all the up-to-date information on testing in Pierce County is available. Biggest update from immunizations, a COVID immunization standpoint from me, is that Ambulance, who many of you will know is a contractor that we work with to do the shelter, who's been doing our shelter vaccine events, is going to partner with James and his team at Comprehensive Life Resources beginning in January to do some direct to encampment vaccines for folks who are interested in that. So that's very exciting. And I will also share in the chat other links, including just a reminder for folks about where to find vaccine in our community. Are there any questions for me?
I am not seeing any at the moment.
And Leah says, get tested if you experience symptoms or were exposed. And she's sharing a link there as well.
Perfect.
Thank you all. Have a wonderful weekend and please stay safe.
Yes, definitely. And Jenny, just one quick question. So we don't have a coalition meeting the next 2 Fridays. If new information arises, you'll be sending that out to you, or someone from the health department will be sending that to the coalition mailing list?
Yes. Yes, I try to, and I'm not taking much time over the holidays really. So I'll be working, and when things arise, I will try to push that out via email. Yeah, but Thank you for that. Thanks for that reminder.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, thanks.
All right. And our last government updates of this section of the meeting, do we have anybody from Pierce County Department of Emergency Management on the call with anything to update us? I didn't see anybody today, so I would guess not. All right, so let's shift gears to talk about the other items on our agenda. Just so you know, we do have a couple of polls that we're going to do in this coming section. But first, I wanted to provide a brief update about what is happening with the City of Tacoma's proposed ban on public camping. You may recall that there were a series of meetings regarding that last week, and the City Council's Community Vitality and Safety Committee met last Thursday night to hear public comment and allow the members of that committee to ask staff questions regarding the path forward with the potential for that camping ban. It was decided at that meeting and then relayed to the rest of the City Council during this Tuesday's study session that going forward, the City Council is not going to rush to try to come up with legislation or change the proposed ordinance before the end of 2021. They will come back, according to Councilmember Ushka, who is the chair of the Community Vitality and Safety Committee. The committee will provide an update to the full city council and bring back proposal for any new ordinance language sometime during the first quarter of 2022. So there was conversation during the study session that, regarding the public feedback that they had heard, regarding the pathway forward, and creating an opportunity for new city council members who will start serving on the city council in January to be brought up to speed so that they can have the full information about the proposal before any vote takes place. As a reminder, just so everybody knows, this previously was considered as an ordinance, which meant that they were going to do a first reading and take public comment at that time, and then do a second reading, at which point the ordinance would pass or fail. So what I will do is, as this topic comes back to the city council, either at study session or at a committee meeting, I will make coalition members aware if there's an opportunity to participate in conversations related to this. And there is the chance that city council may ask for put together a work group to provide more feedback to council members before they move forward with legislation related to this. So that is where things stand right now with the proposed camping ban. Any questions from folks? All right, I'm not seeing any questions. So appreciate that. And I look forward to tracking that down in 2022. So the first item that we wanted to take a vote on today, I sent two things in email yesterday afternoon to the coalition mailing list. The first one is consideration of the coalition endorsing and adopting the legislative priorities that have been developed by the Washington Low Income Housing Alliance. Those priorities were developed in conjunction with some of the folks who are in this meeting right now. I believe Cynthia Stewart, you were involved in that priorities conversation, correct? Yeah. And I think Maureen Howard also sat in on those meetings. So the state legislative priorities of the Housing Alliance were adopted by the Alliance's board last week. And we felt it would be important to show our support as the Tacoma Pierce County Coalition to End Homelessness of those items as well. Let me see, I think I can do a quick screen share to show you what the priorities are. Maybe. Did everybody get that in email? Okay. So I can't real quickly dig it out because I have so many images in my current image files from sitting through meetings yesterday that it's hard for me to find things. So I would like to open the floor to any questions that people have and urge you to refer back to that email if you need additional information. Any questions from folks regarding the Housing Alliance priorities? Those policy priorities, I'll just read them off real quickly. Encourage a $400 million investment in affordable homes. Passage of a Housing Justice Act, which would prevent landlords from denying housing solely based on a tenant or family member's previous arrest or incarceration. Increasing the aged, blind, and disabled cash grant for people with disabilities from $197 currently to $417 per month. State funding and expenditure authority for the State Healthcare Authority to continue funding the foundational community supports program and broader Medicaid transformation project for another 5 years. Anti-rent gouging and tenant protections against rent increases, enforcement of tenant protections, and registration requirement for all for-profit landlords. Exemption, REIT, which is the real estate excise tax exemption, as an incentive to sell property to affordable housing developers. Workforce capacity and sustainability for nonprofit homeless service providers and permanent supportive housing providers. And then finally, additional appropriation of $1.3 million to address a shortfall for tenants' right to counsel, plus an additional $2 million in pre-eviction legal aid. So those would be what we'd be considering here. And if there's no further questions, I will bring up the poll. And of course, I'm only seeing one poll. Here we go. All right, so I'm going to launch the poll now. Thank you, Cynthia, for the explanation of what the real estate excise tax is. All right, I'm going to give this another 10 or 15 seconds to give people an opportunity to participate. And let me take a screenshot of our results here. All right, and there is our poll. I hit share results. And we supported that. 71% of those voting supported it, 0 votes against, and 11 abstaining. All right, so that was our first vote. The next item that we wanted to consider was a poll to determine if the coalition supports the 6 main goals of the Pierce County Comprehensive Plan to End Homelessness, and essentially supports the framework, not getting into deep into the details, but the framework of the approach in the Comprehensive Plan to End Homelessness. As you'll recall from last week's meeting, we spent about a half hour discussing the plan, hearing feedback from Garrett Nyland from Pierce County Human Services. And we feel it's important to show the coalition's wishes and desires regarding this plan, especially since this plan happened, was largely sparked by the wishes of the coalition earlier this year when we imposed the audacious goal to end street homelessness by November 1 of 2021, which of course we did not do, but we have made incremental progress. So all of you who attended last week should be very familiar with the Comprehensive Plan to End Homelessness. The link was sent out to the full plan in yesterday's email as well. So without further ado, unless there are questions, I am going to start that poll. So any questions from anyone? Okay. So let's start that poll. I think I need to come up with some official poll music.
Jenny has a lot of music.
I'm here for you, Rob. I'm here.
You were threatening earlier, Jenny, I know. All right, I'll give this just a few more seconds.
I can do the oldies but goodies.
I appreciate the offer. All right, so I am going to end the poll and share the results. So as you should be able to see on your screen, 81% of those voting agreed to support the comprehensive plan to end homelessness and its framework. 8 of us have abstained. And in the interest of full disclosure, I don't get to vote since I run the poll. So it can be a mystery where I would have landed. Let me take a screenshot of this so we have it for posterity. All right, let me hit stop sharing. So thank you very much for consideration of those 2 items. We don't usually do a couple of votes in any one meeting, but with this being the last meeting of the year, we wanted to make sure we did those housekeeping items and move the work forward into 2022. So thank you. So let's shift to some more of our regular updates. Jan, do you have anything to share regarding Safe Sites for All?
Yes, I want to welcome everybody to this coming Monday's Zoom meeting at noon. You just register by going to the Coalition website for the Monday Safe Sites for All meeting, because we are going to take up the issue of drafting a statement demanding increased numbers of low barrier sites. So we are hearing from officials and the community that they're sick and tired of hearing that there are shelter beds available. And so why do anything, excuse me, because there's shelter sites available. That does not mean there are adequate sites for everybody who is unsheltered. So we're going to draft language that that wants to increase the number of appropriate sites for all. Thank you.
Thank you, Jan. So again, you can go to pchomeless.org to find all of the meetings of the coalition, including the Safe Sites for All meeting that will take place on Monday. And folks are encouraged to join. And there are other committee meetings that will take place over the next 2 weeks as well, despite the holiday. Rosemary, do you have anything further to share from other committees today?
I would just say that the Race and Equity Committee, in collaboration with the Governance Work Group, has drafted a one-page description of the coalition that we hope captures in one page something that people could share with constituents or people in their groups or anyone that lets them know a bit about us. It's certainly, we are dependent on websites as our go-to place to find out almost everything, but having a flyer that we could make available can be useful in many situations when we introduce ourselves. So we'll be sending that out to the mailing list for any feedback or commentary, and then we'll make it final and have it be something that all of us can use as we like. So that's a small thing, but that's what we have to offer today.
Thank you, Rosemary. And that brings us to, we actually are a little bit of ahead of our agenda today, so that I don't know what the heck happened. We must be eager for the holiday. But we move in now to the opportunity to share announcements. Anything that you think would be good for the order of those who are attending. We still have 50 people in the room. So please, if you have things to share, this would be the opportunity. Rosemary.
I just think it's important to announce again, and I wasn't planning to make this announcement, but that the memorial for those who've died while living homeless is on December 21st. I think it's at 6 o'clock at Shiloh Baptist. Am I correct, Mike? I think you.
Yes. Yes.
So welcome everyone who's available on the 21st to come and honor the folks who are not with us because we couldn't help make it happen yet. Jan, you look pretty funny there.
Yes, I would like to merge two of my favorite passions, holiday joy and public health. So listen, everybody hum the tune of Jingle Bells. Dashing high and low in a vaccinated way, through the months we go, healthy all the way. Nurses being kings, making futures bright. What fun it is to breathe and sing with lungs that work all right. Hey, jingle bells, COVID free today. Oh, what fun it is to breathe in a healthy, happy way. Jingle bells, COVID free today. Oh, what fun it is to breathe in a vaccinated way.
Thank you, Jan.
I thought you were asking us all to sing. I was going to see how we pulled that off.
Yeah, that might be a challenge. Kathy, I see you have your hand up.
Thank you so much for allowing me to sit in today. I am one of the original members of the Tacoma Tenants Organizing Committee. Our work was education, advocacy. So I've been hearing about your group for quite some time now. As a student moving through the system, getting help from our housing coordinator at TCC. But with my coursework, I was not able to participate. And now I find myself at a place where I can. I appreciate that you are all aware of the what has happened with some of our tenants from the Tiki and the Merkel apartments, that because of their unhoused status, they were not able to manage their chronic conditions and succumbed to those and are passed. And I also would like to thank the people that are organizing the memorial next week. I was not aware that this was a thing. So I really do appreciate all of the work that you're doing. I feel, even though I've dealt with and had some lived experience, by the way, I've just recently been very overwhelmed by the news that I'm hearing, and the consideration of the ordinance to ban camping on city property seemed very strange to me in a time where we are adopting inclusionary, DIE measures, organizations, for-profit, nonprofit. It just seemed there like a complete disconnect to me. So when I emailed the city council, the one person who did respond to me was Catherine Ushka. So knowing that she is the CVS committee chair is very encouraging to me, and she received my message in a good way. We as Tacoma Tenants Organizing Committee have met several times in the recent past, and we are currently forming our priorities and deciding what we can do. What we've done best in the past is advocacy. We moved the needle quite well with the revised rental code. We were very effective in that. There were a lot of people that came forward with lived experience that really helped to shape that discussion, which was very productive. We're looking at education and just basically being visible in the community. So again, I thank you all for your work, and I look forward to partnering with you as well. So thank you so much. I'm also a resident of the West End. So the stability, the tiny home on 6th and Orchard, I know exactly where that is. And yeah, that's it. Thank you so much for letting me be part of this today.
Of course, thank you for being here, Kathy. Teresa.
It is great to have you here, Kathy. I'm making a little pitch to say, first of all, a thank you. Many of you have contributed to the 99 Stocking Project. And so we're almost there. I'm going to put the link in the chat so you can see what else is still needed. I had to answer the door today to get these beautiful scarves that some friends have been cutting for the project. And if you have, if you live nearby somebody who is out unsheltered, we have a few of these, a few of the campsites we're going to bring whole bags to. But in the end, we may get extra donations of socks or scarves or hats or gloves. And what we have left, we'll tie a candy cane to and give to outreach workers who are hitting those places, or neighbors who live nearby and would like to deliver something. So I'm going to put my email address in the chat. If you fit into one of those categories, please text me and I'll let you know what we have. All the current bags and stockings are committed, but we are certain to have some extra stuff and we'll make them stretch as far as we can. Again, thank you. And if you haven't yet gotten involved, there's still an opportunity. There are still some things we need. So thanks.
Thanks, Teresa. Jan, you have your hand up.
Yes, thanks. I'm Jan from LIHA, and LIHA is going down the road thanks to some ARPA dollars. We have 1.5 acres of land, and we're going to be putting a proposal together for some permanent housing. And I would love, I'm putting together a committee of interested people to help us target our audiences. And so if there's anybody who, unfortunately, within the next few weeks, busy weeks, would be interested in being on that committee, I'd love to hear from you. I'm walking my dog and I do not know how to use my phone and put my email in the chat. So I don't know if I can just say it and.
You can say it. I can see it on your screen because it's part of your screen name.
Yes, great.
So I will put it in the chat for you.
Thank you very much, Robin. Merry Christmas or Happy Holidays, whichever to everyone.
Thank you. Let's see. All right, so there's the email address. And Ed Jacobs, did you want to offer some more information regarding the Homeless Memorial on December 21st?
Certainly. I just finished making the arrangements at Shiloh Baptist Church, where we will be holding the service. It'll be at 6 o'clock on Tuesday, the 21st. The information that we've received from the county and the medical examiner, we have 139 people that have died in the last year that were homeless. So we'll be remembering 139 people. We certainly would like you to, we would love to see you attend. If you are going to attend, please wear a mask. That's a requirement of the church. And I think that's it. I'm very happy and thankful to the county for the proclamation of making the 21st the Homeless Memorial Day. And from what I understand, we have a proclamation coming from the city as well. So it will be an hour, maybe. So actually, I shouldn't say maybe, I'm in control of that. So anyway, we hope that everyone who attends will be remembering those people, kind of confronted with the issue and the situation, and then lifted up and looking forward to next year. And I'd love to say not having to do a homeless memorial next year, that would be an answer to a prayer. So thank you.
Thank you, Ed. One question that came up from a couple folks in the chat is, I know you were trying to investigate live streaming the event for those who can't attend.
Yes, and with your help this afternoon, Rob, we will be able to
figure that
live
out.
stream. Yeah, live stream the event to the coalition website and to Associated Ministries as well, to those Facebook pages. So we're working on that, and that's about the last detail.
Okay, great. Yeah, I'll look forward to seeing how we can figure that out.
Okay, great. Thank you.
All right. Do we have other folks with items for the good of the order? All right, so I do want to remind everyone that we are not holding regular Friday meetings for the next 2 weeks. That is because of the holidays coming up. So both Christmas Eve on the 21st, Christmas Eve day, and then the last day of the year. However, I do urge everyone to use the coalition mailing list if there are items that are emerging issues over the next 2 weeks. And also visit the pchomeless.org website. We do have a number of committee meetings that are still taking place over the next 2 weeks. So those are opportunities, especially at the steering committee meetings on Wednesdays from 3 to 4. There are real opportunities to bring things to the forefront. We could bring together people for a quick meeting if anything is emerging that needs to be dealt with in the next 2 weeks. I do wish everyone a happy holiday season, and hope you have an opportunity to rest, reflect, and rejuvenate for next year. And we will see everybody in 2022.